Welcome back to Flashpoint. This past week, Charlotte City Council is sending plans for the former site of the Eastland Mall back to a committee. City leaders at odds with staff over what to do with about 30 acres of the site. It's been narrowed down, though, to two options. The first option, called QC East, it would bring sports field, an amphitheater, and esports venue. The other option would build an indoor sports complex. Now, City Council trying to move forward 13 years after that mall closed. Joining us now, Charlotte City Councilwoman Dimple Ajmera. She's also serving on the Jobs and Economic Development Committee as well. Councilwoman, thanks for coming back to Flashpoint.
Thank you, Ben, for having me.
All right, let's talk about Eastland Mall because that is what sort of came up at the meeting this last week. The mall has been closed now for 13 years. Is it not fair for the taxpayers and the folks in East Charlotte to expect a plan by now?
Absolutely, they deserve it. In fact, as a fellow East Side resident, I'm certainly frustrated and disappointed. We had a plan all along till the Tepper Sports decided to pull out. And now we are trying to find a partner that has track record, that has financial capacity, and that's going to meet communities' needs. And this is a huge uplift. And this is certainly not an easy project.
Let me ask you this since you brought up Mr. Tepper. Does that bring you pause when it comes to dealing with him in the future on possible other projects?
No, not at all, because we never had an agreement in place. So we can't really hold someone up when we didn't have anything in writing. We were working towards it, but we didn't have an agreement in place.
Gotcha. I know some of your colleagues this past week seemed insulted by the fact that city staff said that the council didn't need to take action at Monday's meeting. Did you share that same sentiment? It seemed to be a bit of a tiff with city staff over how this had been handled.
Yes, I understand that some of my colleagues were extremely concerned, where they felt insulted because of the decision that was made by a staff member or staff members. But I can tell you what I have heard from constituents. We had over 200 signatures supporting one proposal over the other. And the proposal that was recommended by staff was not the one that was suggested by our neighbors. And these 200 signatures that came in were from neighbors, from neighborhood leaders, community members who live on the east side. So from the calls and emails that I have received, they feel that city is tone deaf. They have not taken into consideration what is actually community wants versus what the city wants. And I share their frustration. And I think that's where I had made a comment about we need to make sure that we unify our community. And that is one of the premises for redeveloping this site, because we got to ensure communities on board while we ensure that there is financial track record and just overall experience track record in place.
Just to go over the plans again, you've got the QC East entertainment venue, which, to your point, city staff seem to prefer, or you've got this indoor sports complex. As you mentioned, you are an East Sider. Which of the plans do you prefer?
Well, for me, I'm not married to either plan. All I'm married to is that we have a sustainable solution that is so that we are not going to come back 5 years from today and say, hey, we got to find another partner. I just want to make sure that we make the right decision for the East Side. They've been waiting for far too long, and we cannot disappoint them anymore.
City Council decided last month to set aside $20 million for the future development of Eastland. How do you see that money being used?
So $30 million allocation, that resolution that the council approved, Councilmember Molina and I had championed that. And we see that money being put aside to ensure that there is a private sector match. We are anticipating investment to that Eastland side in almost $100 to $200 million of private sector funding. And that will be matched with our city allocation. We already have set aside $30 million, as I mentioned earlier, but that doesn't include the investments that city has already made to the east side.
One final question on Eastland, and that is, when do you see all this getting settled? As we mentioned, it's been 13 years now in the making. When is this going to have a final sort of decision point?
That's a billion-dollar question. I wish I knew that. Ben, I've been waiting for that answer since I've started serving on council. Formerly, before I ran as an at-large member, I actually served District 5, East Charlotte, on the city council. So I've been waiting for that answer for over 7 years now, and I hope to solve that along with my colleagues soon.
All right, I want to talk about the budget because I know it's something that you've helped sort of champion in the last few weeks. City Council passing it for the upcoming fiscal year. It includes raises, minimum wage hike, no tax increase. But Braxton Winston doesn't think it goes far enough given inflation. Do you think that was a fair critique?
It is a fair critique, Ben. I will say this, that budget process is certainly not an easy part of our job. As someone who has worked in financial services industry, who has worked as a certified public accountant, you have to understand that we have to balance our budget where we do not create too much burden for our taxpayers, at the same time address communities' needs. If we had unlimited amount of resources, we would go ahead and put all the money that we could. But that's not the case. We got to ensure that we don't have displacement. That means we don't displace our elders, our seniors who have lived in the same household for generations to come, which means we have to be very careful about increasing property tax. While cities across the nation, our size, have raised property tax, we have not raised a single penny in 5 years in our property tax. And I think that's something remarkable. That speaks a lot to the financial stewardship and leadership that city manager provides. And we have been able to increase our employees' pay. We've been able to increase investment in our infrastructure, in affordable housing, in ensuring that we retain and recruit our police officer. We had significant increase for our firefighters and our police officers because we understand the value that every single city employee brings to the table. All of that was accomplished without a single tax increase. Yes, the question is, could we do more? Absolutely. But that comes at a cost.
Charlotte City Councilwoman Dimple Ajmera. Councilwoman, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. More Flashpoint after this.